Flosstube. Welcome back to Lala Stitches. This is episode 15 and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, welcome. I'm glad you found me, and if you're one of the oldies but goodies, I'm so glad you're back. Thanks for sharing this stitching time with me. I love it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love it here. So I'm glad you found me. I wanted to send a special thank you to everybody who commented on my video last time, the last Flosstube video. It was so fun, and it was actually a very educational comment section this round. I had showed Brenda Gervais, which you'll see again in a little bit, sampler that was missing a letter, and the first comment I saw about it was like, oh, go do some research, it's super interesting. And then the next 15 comments were, here's the research. So it was really fun to read those and kind of learn some of the history behind samplers and missing letters and languages, and it's all great. I love it. Let's see, I've got my notes here, so hopefully we'll maintain an organized pace here. I also wanted to say a special thank you also to, I received some stitchy kindness from Lauren. She sent this beautiful card, which I just want to frame. It just sits on my mantle here, windowsill here by me, and she sent with the card 2 lovely pieces of linen that I've already been playing with and trying to find something to do with them. Don't worry, it won't be hard. There's always good projects out there. Anyways, thank you, Lauren. This is going to be really fun. Where should I put all my stuff? I have so many things out for this. This episode's a big one. Grab a libation of choice, grab some stitching, settle in, my friends, because I've got show and tell, progress report, a tiny, like 2 pieces of haul. And one of them is a monthly subscription, so it barely counts. So I'll show you what I've stitched on, which apparently I couldn't stick to anything. There's a lot of projects in there. And then I wasn't going to join Mania, but Stitch Mania, but everybody's talking about it on Flosstube and Instagram, and I want to play. I want to do that. So I have spent the last 3 days scrambling through my stash, which, I mean, it's not hard to find projects. In my stash, I've had a whole bucket of kitted up things and, you know, some patterns and fabrics to play with, and it was not hard. It was not hard to pull together, but it was sure a lot of fun, and I'm excited to share with you my plans for the month. Let's see. Yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. Spring is springing here. It's lovely. The maple trees are finally, I don't know, it's interesting to watch the blooming of plants. They all have their own speed and timeline, and so we've had a lot of smaller trees and bushes and stuff with leaves, and the grass has gotten gradually greener and fuller over the last month or so, and that's been lovely. But then we have these big, giant, beautiful maple trees behind our apartment, and they've been naked. They've been super naked. And so I've been watching the tips of the branches. I know this is what you're here for, right? Tree Facts by Laura. Anyways, I've been watching the ends of the branches because they don't grow their leaves like a bush does. A bush has all like the spiky sticks and they pop out leaves on it, right? But the maple trees, they kind of grow the stalks or stems that the leaves grow off of every year. So they're just really sticks sticking out. They don't have a lot of extra small branches. Technical terms all here. This is very, very scientific. Anyway, they're finally starting to pop. I would say in the next week we will have big, beautiful leaves. It's so exciting. And I'm sure it's because last week we got a preview of summer for about 3 days. It was in the high 70s and beautiful clear skies. And Gracie and I just walked every single day and got out in the sun, and I got my little porch garden set up, and so I laid a quilt out there and we just laid on the quilt and read, and it was quite divine actually. It was beautiful, beautiful weather. We've resumed our regular programming here in the Pacific Northwest, and it is heavily overcast and cooler today. So we're back to sweaters and back to stitching. I did not get much stitching done last week. It was too pretty. I squirreled into the sunshine and just went where my heart took me, which was outside. Okay, let's get into stitching. Ooh, let's do my April stats. So it's the end of the month. My videos are so random, you guys. I try to do every 2 weeks, but that can change where my videos fall in the month and how many videos I have a month. I try to do a minimum of 2 Flosstube videos, but you know, life happens. So it's all a bit of a gamble, Russian roulette over here. Anyways, but I do have, since it's the 1st of May, I figured I better get my MAYnia gear and do a video if I was going to do Stitch Mania, because it starts today. Anyways, but I have some stats. I've started 4 projects. You know, that was fun. I didn't start any in March, so I had to make up for lost time. I'll really make up for lost time this month. I finished 3 projects and I fully finished 2. So let's show you those first, because that's pretty exciting. If you are new to my channel, you will not know, like my regular viewers do, that I have chronic startitis. I love to dream about new projects. I love the process of kitting things up and starting new things, and I love having a large selection of projects that are ready to go. Starting projects takes some brain work, right? Like there's some effort. You have to make sure your fabric's the right size. You've got to pull your supplies together. When you actually do those first stitches, if you do a center start or you don't have a perfectly square design where you can like measure your 2 inches in or 3 or 4 inches in, however wide your margins are, there's counting involved, and like it's a whole brain setting to start a new project. And so I really like having a bunch that are just on the go. And so if my mood shifts and I'm no longer feeling sailboats and lighthouses, I can swap over to Bigfoot and cryptids, or I can do a beautiful historical sampler, or you know, I can just kind of shift where the mood takes me, because my tastes are eclectic and I'm embracing it. I love it. I love that I am interested in more than one genre of projects, and so yeah, I just kind of go where the mood takes me. Anyways, so I have many going projects. You will always see a large variety here. And occasionally I finish things and it's super cool and far more exciting because of that. This is a zipper. It's not supposed to be here. Okay, so the first one was I hosted my first stitch along in January, February, and we stitched, the theme was better together. So, you know, stitching together, a sense of unity and not being so alone in the dark winter months, and just kind of embracing this wonderful community that we have. And so within that, I had chosen 2 Little House Needleworks designs, and I have actually shipped them off to a friend. So I don't have them anymore to share with you, but I had run out of one of the colors that I needed to finish it in February. So it was on order, and then it came, and then I didn't want to stitch wintry things anymore by March, and so it hibernated for a month. And this month I decided, okay, it's time to finish this sucker. So here is where I started. And I had the entire first chart done, and I was missing the green. You can see like there's holes in it. And we'll get the real one up here because that's more fun to look at. But it was an interesting stitching experience because here she is. So first I combined two designs that are intended to be completely separate. They're not intended to be married like this. How can I hold it? There we go. So I added a few snowflakes through the middle and kind of had to play with this junction here. Because they're not meant to kiss. But I wanted them all in one finish, one frame. So it took some finagling there, but I think it turned out really fun. And I got so this is the original green, and this is so interesting. So it's hand dyed, classic Colorworks, green with envy. And I loved it's like classic traditional green, but there's also a freshness to it, which I really appreciated. And when I got the second skein, I didn't think anything of it. Oh, it's beautiful, it looks right, blah, blah, blah. It looked good laying over everything. But when I started stitching with it, it is considerably, the darker portions are much darker. And they're all within the same family, color family, so it works. But it took intentional color placement, if that makes sense. So like along the skein or the length of floss, the color changes would happen in a certain order, and I actually wound up clipping off little parts of it so that I would get like especially here, I had already stitched this one bow and I had to do these other, what is that, 5? And so I didn't want it to be like lighter and then suddenly darker, so I played with it and ended on the darker side. Anyways, it all worked out, and I'm very happy with this cute little finish. And I'm excited to fully finish it. I wanted to have it fully finished. I'm going to make this into a project bag front. And so I wanted to do that before I shared with you guys, but time happened. And I had already done like a stash dive in my closet, finding fabrics for other projects earlier in the week, and it was all put away. And by the time I finished this and thought, oh, I should get going on this, I should choose some fabric for the project bag, it's like deep in the closet. So that didn't happen, but it will before snowy season comes again, so I can throw, some new project in there. It'll be fun. Anyways, so that's super fun. That's from the, I want to say Frosty Friends series, Little House Needleworks. Super cute, super fun. It was delightful to do and really fun to do with others. I'm glad to have it on the done list though, because it's been haunting me for a month. Okay, the next one was, I don't have pattern information, but you guys have seen it because it's been April and Easter and everybody's stitching it. So this was where I was on Teresa Kogut's The Bunny and the Bee, which was just an impulse start. I had seen people working on it on Instagram and Flosstube, and it was so cute, and I had it in my stash, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I did. And I finished all the stitching, and then I decided, I was thinking about, okay, how do I want to finish this? And I realized I hadn't ever done a pillow finish on things. I've done soft finishes and framed finishes and hoop finishes, but I'd never done a pillow. So I made a little pillow. It's so cute. I'm so happy with it. This is my backing fabric. Just what is this fabric? I don't know. Pretty. It matched. Let's see. Should I put it? Is that behind it? I don't know if it'll show better for you, if it'll focus better. Anyways, it's so cute. I did, like I had said, I did two little lazy daisy stitches for the wings instead of the quarter stitches that were called for. And I love that effect. It just has a bit more whimsy to it. And I almost forgot to do his fluffy white cottontail, but I didn't. It's there. Oh, it's so cute and happy. I mean, Easter's kind of dumb, but I think it's so sweet and it feels summery. And we've got bunnies. Our bunnies are back that live in the blackberry bushes behind our apartments, and which is exciting. I thought for a while that they weren't coming back this year. Anyways, just a super simple finish. I hand stitched it closed. It's just stuffed with, you know, polyester polyfill. And I'll have to just tuck it on a shelf somewhere or something. Anyways, or I'll throw it across the room. That works too. Anyways, the Bunny and the Bee, Teresa Kogut, super cute. And if you're one of those lightning stitchers, I'm sure you could have this done in a couple of days. Easy peasy. My speed was a month. Okay, and then my last finish, FFO, was one of my New Year's starts. So Coffee First by Brenda Gervais. And I had done an abbreviated version of the 12 by 12 in the countdown to New Year's. And this was one of my starts. And I think I got super far, like a stem. Because I was watching movies and we were eating food and, you know, there was stuff going on. So focus was minimal, but I got those first few stitches in. And let's see, I have a where I was. This is another one that I had run out of the mug color. Oops, what is it telling us? Oh, mystery messages. Anyway, so I still had a little bit of the mug and then the back stitching to do, which was minimal, but I think it added a lot. And I did a hoop finish. Da, 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 da. I think it's so cute. I just love her. I did change the colors. So her mug is, you can see it's originally like a raspberry or terracotta color. And her skirt and dress were much more on the gray-blue side of life. But when I pulled those two colors, I actually had the call for colors. I just didn't care for them. And I'm going to hang this up by our coffee pot and kind of, I had this like vision of a little collage there. And anyways, so I wanted to make her, you know, more me, more my kitchen colors, more with random fuzzies on them. You know, quilter, crafter, fuzzy hoarder. Anyway, so here she is. So I changed her cup to purple. I changed the color of the flowers. It matched the cup originally, so I was able to go a little bit more berry toned in it to make it connect with the mug a bit more. And then I chose two different coordinating aquas for her skirt and dress. Shirt. You know, words. And I got more. This is Classic Colorworks Frosty. And it took all of the skein I had and a little bit more. I don't know if it was a full skein when I started it. I couldn't make any promises on that. But that cup is hefty. I did find after I finished the back stitching that you were supposed to do it with 2 strands instead of 1. But I kind of like it with the 1. Like, it worked. It's just a little lighter. And you can still read it. That's the important part. Anyways, my second fully finished. Pretty exciting. Okay. I love it. Feels good. Oh, and that was just stitched on a 14 count Ada that I tea-dyed myself. Yeah. Okay, so now I've got my little card that I keep track of my projects on. I can add an end date to it and tuck it somewhere safe. I haven't really, the card system is relatively new to me, and so I haven't really figured out how to store it. I also have a little planner here that I had kind of, you'll see people's, this is a total side note, this is not in my notes, but I've seen people will, provide you, like, start, what fabric you use, when you stitched on it. A finished picture in theory could go. Anyways, so I have this too. Maybe I will just transfer the information into it and then get a finished picture, because I would love to have kind of an archive of finished projects, especially since some of my projects will be gifts at one point whenever they're done. Anyways, but I like the card system because it can float with my project, and then I did a conversion on this one, so I was able to track that. It's just on the back of my card, what changes I made. Anyways, and that way I'm also not marking up my pattern. Not that it's a bad thing to mark your patterns up. I definitely had my time where I just scribbled all over my patterns. But I don't do that anymore. So, end of side note. Okay, so let's do my progress report. Let's get into what I stitched on. So, I'll just go through my week. I will assign, usually, May will be an exception to this rule, but I usually will assign themes to my days of the week. So like Mira Monday, Sal Saturday, whatever Wednesday, or I've been considering a Whip Wednesday. There are a lot of alliterations out there for what to stitch on what day of the week. I don't have any chatelaines going, but I know that there's a group out there that's hashtag on Wednesdays we stitch chatelaines. Chatelaines? I don't know. I don't stitch them, but they're spectacular, and I certainly have several saved in my Pinterest boards because dreams are good. Okay, anyway, so Mirror Monday is one of my days, and I have 2 mirrors that I worked on, one more than the other this month. So the first, let me get to my where we started picture. Okay. The first is called Floral Dream, and I would say she got the most work this month because I was really inspired by her. I think she's absolutely gorgeous, and the colors are just so satisfyingly bright and happy. So this is where I left you guys last time. So I've got a bit of glare. It's like this weird dark day, but that means I have to have all the lamps on in my room, and this is as bright as it gets. Thank heavens for windows. But it creates kind of a glare issue. Anyways, so that's where I was. I've done a lot. This was a new start this month. This was one of my new starts. And this is where I got to. Proper on my board. Sorry for the wrinkles. I didn't press anything. I was too busy playing in the sun. Anyways, the color's not showing real great. It's a lot more. Let me see if I can add some white. Will it brighten it up? No. It looks really grayed out in the camera. I don't know why. Anyways, it's a really lovely, this is Picture This Plus Jade, and it really is a lovely, like, tropical lagoon kind of jade color. It's not as gray as it's looking in the picture, and nor are the stitches. It's just bad lighting today. Sorry, you guys. But I made a lot of progress. I got the first silk in, the first Gloriana silk, not Gloriana, Water Lily silk. And then I got her second side established. which is thinner than this side, so it'll fill in really quickly compared to the first side. You can see it's just a little bit of drape on the other side of her silhouette, and then there's quite a puddle of blanket down there, but I mean, that's the fun of everything. I love this project. I do not have it in line for this coming month, but you can bet it'll come back out in June because I'm thoroughly enjoying stitching on it, and I don't want it to go anywhere. I want to keep working on it, but I've got other plans now. So she gets a brief break, a little vacation, and then she'll come back with a vengeance in June. Okay. The next one, oh good. Sometimes I'm organized and it feels good. The next one is an old whip that I'd pulled out, oh, what's she called? Woodland Fairy by MAYnia. And she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. But I've chosen a beautiful color for her fabric, and I had a bit of a color crisis when I first started her. This is where we were. And so I pulled her out again this month to kind of play with, get some more stitches in her and see if she was something I wanted to continue with on this fabric. I knew I wanted to stitch her ultimately, but was I going to continue on the fabric? The answer is yes. I think she's beautiful. And now she has a face. I haven't even gotten into the cool colors, you guys. It's all been it's felt very monochromatic so far. But I'm glad that I kept going with her, because all I had was like a little bit of this dark brown and this like first part of her lap. Everything up has been done in the last month, which, I mean, it's not like a ton of stitching, but MAYnias have a lot of color changes and they take brain power. Let's be honest. Like, you've got to pay attention to what you're doing. Otherwise, you wind up with something you don't want. And we don't want any frogs at our house. We've had enough of them this year. Swans. That's all I'm going to say. Anyways, I think she's lovely. This is her shoulder kind of coming down into her arm. It looks a little broken right now, but a lot of her crown here, it's a crown, is beads. So it looks very choppy right now, but her head is done. So that's pretty exciting. Good progress. This is the back line of her wings, which will come out here. And I think the greens and the blues are really gonna spice it all up. Anyways, I love her. I think she's gorgeous. She is not in the rotation for next month either, but I'm glad that I brought her out because I'm a lot more excited about her progress now and her future. Okay, so Tuesday is Tiny Tuesday in, what month did we just leave? April. In April. And so I really focused on Coffee First and the bunny and this Better Together Frosty SAL, which you've already seen. So moving on. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday wound up being days where I was either unwell or I just didn't want to stitch what I had assigned. So it was they were flex days. This month because I was just bouncing all over the place. So I pulled out Butterfly Garden, which when I first pulled this out this month, I'd just barely done like a little bit of this border all across here and a little bit down there. It was not very inspiring. But when we met last, I had done more border and I had started a little bit of those flowers. And I tell you what, getting going on something other than white border. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that long enough? I'm kind of like flying through because I know I have a lot to share. And I don't want it to be an all-day event for you guys to watch my channel. Gosh. Anyways, getting out of the border was what I needed for this project because I've loved it since I saw it in the shops. And the border just wasn't. Borders are great. I like borders. Some projects I buy for the borders, but this is not one that you buy for the borders. This one you buy for the butterflies. Oh, let me scoop my little needle minders. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Runaway needle minder. Ah! All right, this commercial break brought to you by Laura's Chaos. All right. So I finished one of the blooms. I even did the middle part of the flower that I cannot remember the scientific name for, but I knew once upon a time, which is just a back stitch and a French knot at the end. And she says in the pattern that you can choose to do X's instead of French knots for the little ends. So if French knots aren't your thing, don't be scared away because this pattern is gorgeous. And one of the comments was from my stitchy friend Linda, and she was working on the top right, I think, quadrant. I think she said she was up here by this blue butterfly. And that got me all motivated to abandon the rest of the flowers and stitch the start of the green butterfly, which looks super lime in the picture, but I'm loving this soft, almost tangerine. Oh, it's so pretty in person. And this is actually a blend of two different greens to get that color in there. So it's, I don't know if you can see it, but it's really interesting in person. It just has a lot of texture and it's so pretty. And it is also going into hibernation for June. But I love it, and I'm so glad I'm past the border on it. It's been fun to work on. Okay, next. Okay, this next one, I need to get back into my pictures. Where is it? Oh. I appear to have neglected to put its before picture in. Let's see if I can find it in the next 10 seconds while I ramble at you. So the next one is Mojo Stitches in the library. We all know and love this one. It is absolutely gorgeous and scrumptious and all the good descriptive words. I love working on it, and I ambitiously, there it is. Oh no, not quite. Well, anyways, ambitiously, I had said I wanted to, this is the closest I have. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So this is where I was on it. And I had said, oh, I would love to get the second shelf done. What was I smoking? Who was I thinking I am? The whole second shelf? Well, you guys, I did it. I did the whole second shelf. I didn't do anything on the shelf, but I got the shelf in. Ugh, whatever. I stitched this while I was watching a very interesting documentary on 1968, and I was thoroughly distracted by the visual stimulation of that documentary. It was very interesting. It's on HBO if you want to watch it. But yeah, I only got the shelf done, and I guess a little bit of the first book, which, you know, it's something. It's something. It's okay. It's not going anywhere. This beauty is not going anywhere. It is also not in the rotation for the next month, but it's okay. Oh, I am stitching this on Oh, I have not been telling you guys. I'm just rambling on. So this is on Vintage Pearl Barley, I think. Where's my tag? I think that's what it is. Anyways, Lakeside Linens. It's absolutely divine. I wish I could get my hands on more of this. After I found out this is a hard one to find and I had only gotten, you know, a swatch of it, I went back on to the Reflections. Is it Reflections? Or have I just been watching a lot of YouTube? The website for the quilt shop that I got this from in Nebraska, and which was a lovely quilt shop. I'll link it down below since we're talking about it. But it was not available on the website anymore. I was going to go back and buy whatever they had, but nope. I missed my chance. I had it and it slipped by, and that's okay because I have it for this and that's enough. Anyways, it's beautiful. Pretty sure it's Vintage Pearl Barley. And yeah, that's that. The fabric I was stitching the butterflies on is Blue Jay. Is that right? Nope, just J. Picture this plus J. And this is a gorgeous blue. It's actually, it's weird that the jade didn't show up very well, but this is actually showing pretty true to color. There you go. That's computers for you. Anyways, picture this plus J. It's beautiful. I would take more of this one. It's lovely. Okay. Next. Gotta get my ducks back in a row. They scattered for a minute. Okay, here we go. And I'm gonna call this one the right project this time because I am an intelligent woman and I can do this. Okay, so this is the Magical Creatures Calendar by Clouds Factory. And do I have a main picture for it? I think I still do not. But that's okay, because I called it the right thing this time. Magical Clouds Factory, Magical Creatures Calendar. I was working on May. I know, it's riveting. And I finished May, which is much more interesting than where it was. This one's so cute. The colors are just so much fun. And I am swapping out a lot of the called for colors. I was inspired by somebody I saw on Instagram who had softened the body colors of this. It was very stark red, orange, yellow. Like the gradation was boom, boom, boom instead of blending. And I still wanted to define the chest of it and, you know, catch the key moments, but I wanted to soften it. I loved the effect. I am taking out, it will say like January, Feb, I think actually it might be Jan, Feb, Mar. You know, it's not the full name, I don't think, in the chart. Is that right? I don't know, I haven't been stitching it. Oh, it is the full name. I'm a liar. I'm actually not, but anyways, it's so cute. So I'm taking out the words and just adding more little motifs in. So like I added this extra little flower. I need to come back in. I think I'll add like another heart and a couple little dribbles, like the love potion is kind of wafting. And I think the word was down in here, so I added those little fire sparks there. But it's so cute, my little phoenix. I love it. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I have the whole border done on this one. It's quite beautiful with a Weeks Dye Works. What color was that? I'm pretty sure I used the called for periwinkle. Yeah, 2337 periwinkle. It's very lovely, very subtle. But in person it just gives a little bit of magical movement to it, so it's very appropriate. Love my little frog prints. Anyways, super fun. This one, let me look at my calendar here, is not going to get any stitches in May. We've got a whole new itinerary, which is why this is a bigger video, because there's a lot to share. I should move on. Okay, so we're on SAL Saturdays, I guess. This is a SAL, and what I do on SALs, chronic startitis. I love SALs. In fact, this episode should be called Starting All the SALs, because everybody released all the coolest SALs all at once. Oh man, it's okay. We love the designers. Anyways, but I chronically fall behind on SALs. I usually get a really enthusiastic start and then fall off the wagon. So SAL Saturday is a good way for me to keep giving these SALs some love. Even if I didn't start it as a SAL. Like this next one is the Four Seasons by Barbara Anna. And it never likes to focus on that. And it's really cute. They're stitched all in a row. It was done as a SAL, but I didn't do it that way. I just purchased the kit after the fact. So, and my goal, I actually have a goal for this one to finish it completely, well, at least all the stitching, completely by the end of this year. I don't know why I don't have, oh, sorry, we've got a little bit of a working thread going here. Stick it on my needle minder. Okay, so here I am. I have winter completely done, except for a little bit of back stitching. And my goal, oh, fiddlesticks. Let's see here. All this hullabaloo for, all right. My goal was to get her lower half done. But for 3 rogue stitches there, I did. We've got sweet little bunnies now. Our houses are not ghosts of what they could be. And she has feet. She's not hovering anymore. So I have her, let me see. She's not in my rotation for this next month because of the new ones. But I want to get her finished before we hit the official start of summer in June. Please tell me that's in June. May, June, April, May, June. Yeah, it's got to be in June. It's got to be in June. It's every 3 months. Oh, gosh, I don't know. You know, it wouldn't be an episode of Oddities Stitches if I didn't, lose my mind at several points through the video. So here we are. Anyways, so goal checkmate. I did it. I'm excited. We're on track, but we're going to give her a little break so we can come back at her with enthusiasm in June. And then we'll move on to summer, which will be fun because there's almost nothing done of summer, and it's a cute one. Look at that. Oh, can you see it? Focus on that one. Not my face. Oh, I don't know. I love it. I love the lighthouse, the strawberries, these cute little fish. It's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun one. Good colors. Not that there are bad colors in this project. I don't know where that came from. Anyways. Okay, so this next one, the last SAL for SAL Saturday was Birds of a Feather by Brenda Gervais. Love this one. And in fact, shortly after I showed this, Brenda did, I follow her on Instagram because I'm cool like that. And she did a poll in her stories. I've been thinking about re-releasing Birds of a Feather. Should I do it? And it was like 97% said yes. So watch the shops out there. It is a discontinued pattern, but she might bring it back. It could happen. That would be very exciting. That's where I started. I had the border complete, and I had been working on my alphabet missing letters. And this one's so big, I don't know if I can put the board on it. I have run out of the color for the tree. I finished the alphabet and started in the tree, and I've run out of that color. The branches kind of go up like this. So I need to get some more, but that's okay. I've got time because it's not in the lineup for this month. I've loved working on it, and I'm really excited to get into the hill. I think it will come out again later in the summer because, like I said, I am really enjoying working on this. And it's on this, I don't know if this is what, mushroom lugana, something like that. That is, the stitches just lay really nicely on it. So it's very satisfying to work on because everything looks really good. Yeah, and just beautiful, beautiful colors in a very different way. But the hill brings in a fresher green. I think it's grasshopper, which is kind of like, woo, compared to these muted ones. And then the birds have some blue in them, and it'll just add a little bit more sparkle to this project, which is already beautiful anyways. So that'll be fun, but I need to get some more Weeks Dye Works bark for the bark. Appropriately named. Okay, that's almost everything I worked on. I told you guys I bounced around. It was all over the place this month. Okay. Bring these up into my lap. So I had a note about this because I was watching, where is she? Gotta get my notes. I don't remember. Oh, Christine of Calico Whimsy. I wrote down your name because I'm terrible with names, and I felt so bad last episode that I remember these lovely faces and projects, and I could not put names to them. Anyways, please don't take it personally. My brain is broken, like legitimately. So I wrote it down so I wouldn't have that again. Christine of Calico Whimsy. First of all, beautiful projects. She works on some dimensions kits, and she mentioned that her birthday was this month. Happy birthday, belated. But she was wanting to stitch by the sea. She was wanting to stitch ocean themed things. And I was like, oh, I should pull out Dockside Quilts because that's stitching by the sea. It's themed appropriately. And so I stitched one day to celebrate Christine's birthday. This lovely stitchy lady that doesn't know me from Adam. But this is it. Dockside Quilts by Design Works. It's a kit. Oh my goodness, and it's so lovely. The colors, this picture, I can't wait to get it done in person, in 1,000 years. Because the colors, the picture doesn't do it justice. It is so fresh and lovely, and it's quite beautiful. So there it is. I do have a before picture. I just forgot to pull it out. I got chatting. So I worked on, I'll just tell you instead of showing you this one. I worked on some of the cloud, and then I brought these rocks over like this. They were about, pretty much there. I did all of that, and then I started filling in some of the bushes. Yeah, quite a bit of the bushes, like pretty much like that whole section there. Yeah. Anyways, it's lovely. The colors are just so fresh. Yeah. I did have a bit of a counting goo blah blah up here, and it had to be corrected, but that's okay. It's back on track. All is well in the world of Dockside Quilts. Okay. Oh, I should share this one. I don't have a before picture of it either because it was totally one of those, I don't want to stitch what I have slotted for today, impulsive things. But I have been working on not the Magister yet, little Grogu, when I watch Star Trek. I'm going through it. Star Trek. Star Wars. I know what I'm looking at here. I've been watching both of them, so they're blurry in the brain. But anyways, I've been stitching this while I watch it, and I'm going through it chronologically, including the Clone Wars animated series, which is... The first season is so dorky. It gets much better after the first season, but but the droids are hilarious. Like, I just let it run in the background while I'm stitching. I don't even look up that often because it's super easy to follow storyline. It's not complicated. But I think they realized, like, mid-season 1 or season 2 that there were a lot more adults interested in Star Wars fandom. And so they upped their game in the later seasons, which is good. And I'm an anime fan anyways, so I like my animated entertainment. But I had all of this purple, we'll just call it purple, stitched, clear going up here, and then all of this, and it was off by 3 lines. Somehow my brain deleted those 3 lines, and I had to pull it all out. And so last time you saw it, I had pulled it out. But I've added in the purple again, and I added some of this dark brown, and it still doesn't look like anything yet, but significant progress considering the frog came to visit in a big way, and it was rather disheartening. Anyway, so I made progress on Baby Yoda, and then I have my final 2 new starts. So this one, I'll show you first. No before picture because it's a new start. It is the Rose Fairy by Soda Stitches. It's my first Soda Stitch. I think they're absolutely charming, and I've just kind of been waiting for the right mood to hit. And, oh my goodness. I think it's Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher and someone else. I think her Instagram handle is Rogue Mama Stitcher. I will confirm this and put it in the section below. Let me make a note here so I don't forget to do that. Soda SAL. They are hosting a Soda Stitch SAL. And I think it's hashtag my first soda or my first soda stitch. Again, I'll put the right information down below. But I actually started this like 2 weeks before they announced that they were going to do it. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll jump on that. Maybe I won't. But this is my first soda, and it's super sweet. And I just wanted to do something cute. So I had this opalescent... Oh, the sparkles show good on a cloudy day. Opalescent Ada. It's a 14 count. And I just started it, and it's so sweet. And last night, while I was stitching, I realized I'm stitching it the wrong direction. Curses! And I was so disheartened for about 5 minutes. And then I decided, you know what? I know where this one is going. I know how... I'll just have to adjust how I finish it. I was going to do a hoop finish because I kind of liked the round hoop around it. I thought it was kind of cute. And after finishing Coffee First, I was like, this is a really quick, fun way to finish things. And it kind of adds a different shape on your wall. It's really cute. And I think I could technically, I'll have about an inch. I actually ran a counting thread out to the edge of what we'll be stitching, because there's this whole little fluffy bird that sits by her, and he comes out to, it's like right about an inch. So I'll probably do a soft finish on this. I wanted to do a hoop. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think an inch is going to be enough. Yeah, I'll just do a soft finish, and I know where it's going. This one's going to be a gift. And it's still going to be super cute. She's really sweet. I love her little airy wings. I've got buckets of back stitching to do. And I'll start doing that, as I go on it. I'm not going to save all the back stitching to the end because they're quite back stitch heavy. But I love it. It's real. It feels like really classic cross stitch to me. You use the colors to create the dimension, and it's charted. Instead of using blends, it's, you know, it's more dimensional stitching, and then you've got your classic back stitching through there in different colors to fully define your shapes. And she has a cute little smile and, you know, cheek emphasis, and it's so fun. Her hair, this is actually a braid that goes through here. She'll come to life. The back stitching will be magic in this one. Anyways, I'm super excited about it. I love it. I was bummed that I'm stitching it the wrong direction because I'm an idiot. It just makes me think of the Grinch when he's in the cave, his house, and he's like shouting to his echo, you're an idiot, you know, and it shouts back to him, you're an idiot. That's pretty much how I felt. And then he whispers, I'm going to say this quietly so by the time my voice reverberates off the walls and gets back to me, I won't be able to hear it. And it's like, you're an idiot. Oh, you've all seen it. I don't know why I'm quoting it to you, but that's exactly what was going through my head as I realized I was stitching it the wrong direction. You're an idiot, just bouncing off the walls towards me. Okay, so my last new start was my Earth Day start. It is gorgeous, gorgeous. Emma Congdon's Leave Nothing But Footprints, Kill Nothing But Time. I'm just calling it Footprints. And I've got another really awesome pun for you guys. I finished nothing. This is where my brain is. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, no, I am sorry. I'm in a really weird mood today. It's so goofy. It's beautiful. I so enjoyed stitching on it. I stitched on it for, I think this was 3 days of stitching. And I watched Twister, which, you know, classic. Such a good movie. And I think I'll watch Dante's Peak today just because I'm in the mood for disaster movies and I'm going to embrace it. But yeah, this is really fun. It's going pretty quickly. It doesn't look like much, but you know, there's a lot of stitches in there. And I'll never profess to be a fast stitcher. But I love, this was my, it's Bestitch Me Ledger. This is the Even Weave. And this was last month's Fabric of the Month. It's in the Neutral Club, and I signed up for neutral and colors, so they'll just kind of surprise me with it. And I almost wish, like I got this month's, I'll show you. It's gorgeous. I mean, absolutely spectacular. But I almost wish I'd stayed just in the neutrals because there's so much more color than I expected for a neutral, but it is so beautiful. Anyways, colors are good too. They're not good, they're great. I love color. Color is my jam. Okay, so that's everything I stitched on. Whew. Are we tired yet? I am. But wait, there's more. Okay, it's gonna be good, you guys. It's not only gonna be good, it's gonna be great. I am so excited for Mania. So there are 3, potentially 4 new SALs that I am enthusiastic about. I have signed up for Morbid Curiosities. Treasure Island is an Owl Forest embroidery one that is free, and I'm gonna do. And then Julie, I blame you. Julian Stitches, who I am stitching casually in the library with. You know, I kept seeing, I want to say it's, oh, I don't want to get this wrong. I want to say it's Wolfie Stitches on, Wolfie Stitches on Instagram. I don't have it on me. I'll link her below. I believe it's Wolfie Stitches though. Anyways, one gal is stitching the greenhouse of oddities, which everybody's all abuzz right now, and there's a reason. It's amazing. It's such an intriguing start, and that was what started me on to like, oh, maybe I need more SALs brain thoughts, and then it was like down the rabbit hole I went. So but then Julie started hers, or pulled her fabric. I can't remember if she actually started it. Anyways, people are starting it and it's so cool. And so I was like, all right, I'll join the SAL. You twisted my arm. I'll do it. And then I saw the teaser for the Morbid Curiosities, which is done by Witchy Stitcher, and she did the Cryptid SAL. You might have seen that, or the Supernatural SAL. They're awesome. And so as soon as I saw her teaser, I was like, I'll do it too. And then, of course, the Treasure Island one. I have a very fond memory of my 5th grade teacher reading us Treasure Island and for the first time. And I'm going to have to reread it again when I start stitching it, because what a happy, comfortable memory that is. and so I'm stitching it for Mr. Stokes in honor. I think he's still living. He's not passed. But it's been, many, many moons since I was in 5th grade. So, oh my gosh, many moons. We're not going to talk about that anymore. Anyway, so that's my 3rd one. And then somebody shared in my Instagram messages, they're like, have you seen the Satsuma Street one? I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so good. It's the 4 elements. It's going to be so good. And so I haven't committed to that one yet, but it's definitely like floating in the nethers of my brain, wanting me to join or further the madness. Yeah. If I don't start it this month, because I am trying to slow down on my acquisitions. This year's been a bit of indulgence, which is super fun, but had to slow down, and I was super good this month. I don't think other than the Greenhouse SAL and the Morbid Curiosities, which, you have to pay to get into it, right? I don't think I bought anything else. I had one more thing come in the mail that I purchased in April, but I was a good girl this month. Yeah. I might have bought something else earlier in the month. We're going to pretend that I didn't, though, because I was good. I was good. Yeah, I was good. Anyways, so, but I'm going to try to continue to be good and only buy things I need for the projects I'm working on that month, if that's necessary. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. Moving on. So the SALs are going to be super fun, and I'm very excited for them. And you will see those as we go through my plans and such. I've got to get back to my list. So we did our progress report. We chatted a little bit about the SALs. Okay, and so this is where I slotted to do my haul. So this is this month's Bestitch Me Lugana. It is spectacular. It's quite beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to stitch on it yet, but it has all the juices rolling. I'm trying not to move it very much because it's very wrinkly in its plastic, but oh my goodness, it is. I just got it yesterday. It's absolutely scrumptious. It's called Gorgeous Grape, and what an appropriate name. I'm doing the 28 count Luganas because I'm really I was watching Jordan, the tattooed stitcher, and she was talking about how 28 count is just so comfortable and it's so fun to stitch on. It's not that you can't do other counts like higher counts and that those aren't beautiful too, but there's just something, it's a comfort zone. There's something satisfying about it, and the stitching just kind of flows. And I'm with you, Jordan. I love it too. I've been fully embracing, those larger counts for stitching this year, and I'm totally good with it. I love it. There's nothing wrong with stitching on a 14 count or a 28 count over 2. It's all wonderful. It's all good. All of it's good. Let's go on. I'm rambling. So this is my first Bothy Threads kit, and I was watching someone it was at the start of April, so I don't even remember who it was, because I watch a lot more than I than I actually talk about. But she is in the UK somewhere, and was working on Bothy Threads kits, and she wasn't actually working on this one, but it got me thinking like, I wonder if I can find any Bothy Thread kits that I love. And this is actually a wedding sampler, but I never did one for my husband and I. Well, when we got married, I was not back, the stitchy bug had not bitten me again yet. That took, 4 or 5 years into our marriage before I dove back into cross stitch. And I think this is beautiful, and it has my swans, which is like my flower. One of my favorite birds right now. And anyways, I think it's just beautiful. It's one of those ones, again, this one I bought for the border. It's beautiful. It says, "Years fly, flowers die, new days, old ways pass by, love stays." And then, I'll say me and my guy, and we got married in 2012. So, yeah, I think it will be lovely. I don't know when I'm going to start it, but maybe I'll wait till next January and do it for an anniversary stitch. That could be an idea. I've got plenty going on this year. Doesn't have to happen right away. Okay, so that's my haul. That's all there is. A kit that I bought last month that finally came, and my monthly. Like I said, I'm being good. But I showed last video that I had been gifted a whole stack of like vintage patterns and magazines, and there was a kit in that stack of goodies that I went through and chose my favorites from, that had a large piece of Aida 14 count. And I was never going to make, it was for a tree skirt. I was never going to make the tree skirt in cross stitch. It just didn't strike me. So I pirated the fabric and sent the pattern on its way. And I am so excited to share what I did with it, you guys. I bought Rit dye. I watched 14 different videos to see different ways to dye fabric. I was looking for one that I thought somebody had mentioned, and then I couldn't find it. I couldn't find where it was mentioned, rather. And so I was just Googling YouTube videos, and I watched everything from the housewives to people all over the world. So I kind of gleaned from what I watched. I'm so excited. Gleaned from what I watched the basics, and then I just kind of went for it. So I had little plastic cups left over from my sister's baby shower that were perfect for pouring the boiling water and the dye. That's the word I'm looking for. The color and the hot water into. So I used those. I laid out a garbage bag over my counter in my kitchen because that's where I was working on it. It's my best space for it. But I didn't want to dye my counters. They're not really mine. So I laid the garbage bag out, and it was good that I did, because occasionally, I thought I was being so careful, but occasionally you get like a little splash, or I used an old garbage knife from our hunting box, just like a butter knife, to stir things with. And occasionally that would drip on the counter in between to the, rag I used to pat that off with in between stirs. Anyways, so I set out all my colors, and I kind of had a game plan. It took a while to get the game plan, but I made these little tags. I did not do this one, But I kind of had projects in mind going into it for all but two pieces. And the last two, I was just having so much fun. I wanted to try something wild. So I was pretty intentional with most of my dyeing. I had projects in mind. I had pre-cut the Ada and edged it with a zigzag so it wouldn't totally fray away. And I'll show you the difference because my impulsive ones I did not edge. I just went and grabbed a lighter piece from my stash and it's quite fuzzy. So my process was wash it first with a gentle detergent. I mean, I just used Dove. I figured if you can wash a duck with it, you can wash cross-stitch fabric. Dawn, not Dove, Dawn. Dish soap. And I used the clear, dye-free, scent-free. So I used that and washed them first to get the starch out with hot water. And then I crumpled them up in different ways and applied dye in different ways. So I had a cup, a measuring cup that the markings have worn off of. So I used that knowing that I could not use it for food again. And I would crumple it up in there and then apply the dye. And then I microwaved it for 4 or 5 minutes. And then I'd pull it out and I dumped it into my sink. I have a stainless steel sink and I rinsed it off right away so it wasn't just sitting in there. And then most of them, not all of them, but most of them I threw in the dryer for like 10 minutes just to get the heaviness of the moisture out so I could lay them out on surfaces and stuff. And so between the microwave and like 10 minutes in the dryer after they were rinsed, so they are not leaving anything in my dryer. The water was coming out clear and everything before they went in. And they went in, I think I put them in with like one piece at a time. Just on the off chance that anything touched and bled. And it shouldn't have at that point. And I've looked in the dryer, no color transferred. So that was kind of my method. You know, kind of a Mod Podge of other people's method. I knew from watching the videos that you needed some kind of heat to set it. I knew I didn't want to sit it in the in the oven for 20 minutes. I just didn't have any pans to go that I was willing to sacrifice. I don't have a bunch of extra dishes lying around that I can sacrifice to my dyeing process. And so I knew the microwave was going to be my best bet for setting that color in the fabric, and I just kind of went. So here is what I did. Drum roll, please. So my first one was this one with this project in mind. This was a birthday present from my sister. It is such a cool project, and I've learned that there's a companion piece with it. She actually has done a lot of houses, but there's a companion piece that's Halloween-y that it's something for the future to watch out for. But this was my favorite one when I found Judith Kirby, and my sister, lovely lady that she is, bought it for me. And my first thought was, oh, I need something for like a spooky Halloween sky. I mean, I think we did good, right? Woo! And I kept thinking of Murky. Picture This Plus Murky that you see for Halloween Quaker, which I was also dyeing for too. And so I was like, okay, we need some brown tones. We need some. I wanted a little bit of purple in it, and I wanted gray. But with like a blue hint. Anyways, so it's such a hodgepodge of colors. Like I said, I was just playing. So I have navy blue in there. The gray I used is charcoal. And I had 2 cups of each color. So it was like a deeper, so more dye, and then a lighter, which was less dye, more water. So that I could kind of play with how much color I was putting on there. There's a little bit of eggplant, a little bit of navy, and then just a splash of marigold, which doesn't show very much unless you're in person. There's like a little bit of a gold spot through here and there. Anyways, it's gonna be so good. I'm very excited. And when that came out well, I was feeling fairly confident that everything else would turn out well too. And they didn't all turn out like I thought they would. In fact, they look a lot darker when they're wet than when they're dry. So that's something to note if you're dyeing for a project. So this is Mermaid Lagoon. I have started this not once, not twice, but thrice on different fabrics. I've done it on a black, and I just did not like, I mean, obviously it looked good. It wasn't a matter of looking good. I didn't like stitching on it. I tried it on a lighter color and some of the lighter colors disappeared. I tried it on a blue, it was a lighter blue, and I didn't even think about the fact that my mermaid is light blue. Anyways, so I knew I needed something darker, but I never really found anything I loved. Until I dyed it myself. It's gonna be so good. She'll show up, all the lighter parts will show up, and I tested once it was dry, like the dark moments. So this blue, it's very close, but it's a very subtle accent anyways, even on the model. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so fun. So you'll see this one come out again in August. August is my ocean themed, but I'm just, and this was navy blue, just navy blue, layers of navy blue. And I think this one I used a rubber band to, some of them I would scrunch up and put a rubber band around and then pour the color over. And some of them I would try to just like bunch a little bit more even layered and then pour color over in spots. So I kind of I was just playing with different methods. This one I'm pretty sure I used a rubber band on. And, oh, I was so happy with how it came out. It's gonna be really cool, in my not so humble opinion. Okay, the next two were, I dyed all the ones I had planned, and I was just having so much fun. I wanted to do something wild and crazy. So I wanted to do something purple, and I wanted to do something kind of earthy. And these are what came out of it. And I've already assigned them both projects probably. So this is my purple, which looked so dark when it was wet, like dark. And I was almost bummed when it dried out and it was so light. But oh, I can't even be bummed. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And it's gonna be Star Trek. Doesn't it look kind of like nebulas, like space? Yeah? Yes, it does. It's gonna be awesome. Oh, I love how that one came out. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, this is gonna be a long video, guys. I am so sorry. I've got so much stuff. I wonder if I should do Mania in a separate video. No, we're just gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep moving. So this next one was my earthy one. And you can see, this is the one I just grabbed out of the stash and I didn't edge it. You wanna zigzag your fabrics or secure your edges somehow. Serge it if you have a serger. It really frayed, but it's gonna be okay. And I'm thinking I might put these little forester frogs on it. I'll have to pull colors and make sure it all plays nice. I also have an alternate, like maybe these ink circle mushrooms would be kind of cool on it. I don't know. Just some ideas, but this one came out so interesting, and it is like so many colors. There are so many colors. There's gray, there's marigold, there's emerald green. Is it emerald green? I don't have them in here. I don't know what I was looking at. There's forest green, my darker green. I'm pretty sure I even dribbled some teal over it in here. You can see. But this one was a lot more spotted. So it's one of those ones that I laid pretty level and then I just poured color into spots. Because I wanted intenser marbling. But this was also not a white Ada. It started out as oatmeal. I think it's oatmeal or kind of a fiddler's cloth kind of look. And so it's very textured. It's interesting. It's interesting. That's not a flaw, that's a fuzzy. Anyway, super fun. Okay, and this next one was supposed to be for the Star Trek. That was one I was actually dying for. But it came out, I mean, beautiful. But then when the purple came out, I was like, oh no, it's the purple. So now I'm kind of playing with the idea of maybe putting like this cute little owl on it. Or maybe using it for a restart on my last unicorn. So many ideas. I don't know. It could be a lot of things. I'm not committing to it. Okay, this one is the one that started it all. I have the picture in here for you. It wants to see my face. There we go. So this is one that Megan, I knew that was your name. Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, is working on. She dyed her own fabric with navy and charcoal, and it is gorgeous. She got this amazing marbling, and this is from Cross Stitcher magazine, October 2022, so last year. And you can download the app and buy the magazine for like $5.99 or something like that. It's super accessible. Cross Stitcher app. And so I was inspired by Megan, and that's what I wanted to do. And I wound up with a much grayer piece than she did. It's still the navy and the charcoal. Very different. And I was almost bummed when it came out. I was like, oh wow, that's a lot more gray than I thought it would be. But I think it's going to be so cool. And I love, like, the more I've thought about it, I love that it's different, that it's not mimicking somebody else's. It's inspired from, but it turned out, I mean, it's me doing it, not Megan doing it. So it's kind of a beautiful thing that it turned out different. And I still think it's going to be really cool. And it will fit with my other autumn themed kind of spooky night vibes fabrics. Anyways, so that's going to be for Ode to Autumn in the fall. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm very excited for that one. I'm excited for them all. What am I saying? So this next one turned out, again, very different than my brain kind of saw it coming out. I was dying for this, which is such a glorious blue. It's really beautiful. I mean, it's actually stitched on, the model is stitched on a crystal, an opalescent, sparkly one. And so that's what I was thinking. And it was darker when I washed it. It came out very gray, but still blue. And so it could work. I might still go with it as long as my little gray squirrels show okay. It turned out beautiful. I'm not unhappy with the results. It's just not quite what it's not as vivid as I had thought it would be. It lightened up when it dried. The other thing is, just a real quick look at that one. Real quick. Star Wars. It's little Star Wars motifs, and the center is the Death Star, and that could be really cool for it too. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. These grays and blues were the first ones I dyed. It was rather ambitious to go with the most project-specific things first in my experiences. But, you know, it's all good. So this next one was for Halloween Quaker. And again, it's one that wound up a lot more subtle than I anticipated, than it looked even. Like you could see the purple and the gold moments, and because this one, anyways, let me just show you. It was very intense, but like in a good way when it was wet, and it really softened up. And so I was a little bummed, but then I started looking at it, and I think I kind of am in love with it because you still get some darker moments, and there are hints of the purple. It's very subtle. And there's hints of the blue. The navy blue is in there. It's very subtle. A little bit of the marigold comes through here. But it's there. And so once you get stitching on top of it, yeah, Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be pretty stinking awesome. And all of these projects, I mean, I can't say free because I bought the die, but I mean, I spent what, 20 bucks in dye? 20 bucks. It's not bad. That's not bad. Got 2 more for you, and then we'll move into a really, really rapido look at my Mania plans. Really fast. So this is my background, and I actually found out today she just released the first part of the pattern. It's actually this way it sits. This is for Morbid Curiosities SAL. Here's the colors. There's some purple in there. And she said it was stitched on a dark blue background. I was like, all right, I'll embrace that. But I knew because this purple is pretty strong. It's pretty violet. I wanted some hints of purple in it. So I put some eggplant in with the navy blue. Ooh. And I quite like how this one turned out. I think it'll be really cool. I mean, it's hard to know what we're stitching on it. It's a mystery SAL. So, I mean, all I have is, you know, the color list and the sizing charts so far. But I think it'll be really great. And then last but not least in the SAL dyeing extravaganza is the Greenhouse of Oddities. And I have seen this stitched, I think it was Wolfie Stitches is doing it on, I'm going to kick myself if I'm saying this wrong. But, yeah, I think it's her. She's doing it on this really beautiful, like, lavender, but like a vibrant lavender, almost in a violet realm of colors, but not quite that deep. Anyways, beautiful, beautiful color. And I've seen it on grays and greens and blues, and all I could think was, it's a greenhouse. I want dappled light. Like you're standing in your greenhouse on a lovely summer's evening and the light is coming through the glass and the leaves, and it's a greenhouse, right? So that was the vision. This turned out so different than I originally thought it would go. Oh, but I'm so glad it did. Oh, it's not going to show the color. What is it with greens today? It is so much more green than it's showing. Does that help it? No. All right. To heck with that. It is so, so lovely. I mean, strings. But maybe I'll be able to get better pictures of it in the future. But here's the color palette for it. And we all know that the big frame is all in black, and that will literally be my goal for May, is to stitch on this a half hour a day minimum on the frame so that I can, before I do anything else, so I can catch up with the frame. I think I've got 4 weeks to catch up before she releases the first motif or whatever, the first real section of interest. Oh, I wish this showed the color. Is that better? That's a little better. Anyways, I think it got the dappled light effect though. Those little pops of that gold through there. Some deeper, like, tealy forest green moments. It's not doing it justice. It's so pretty. I'm really proud of this one. Maybe I'll hang it on my fridge and try to take another picture that way. See if it'll show better. Anyway, so that'll be for the Greenhouse of Oddities SAL, which I'll start this month. Okay, so yeah, that's what I did this month. I mean, it was busy. I did a lot of stuff. It was pretty cool. Okay, so Mania. I have participated in Mania 3 of the last 4 years. I did not participate last year because I was moving and kind of wrapping things up at my job and prepping for a move, and my husband was applying to different stores, and so we were doing research into different cities, and you know, it was just kind of a crazy time of year to do anything. I think it was the one time in my life I've been a monogamous stitcher, and I was working on my strawberry bird. So, which was lovely and soothing and everything I needed it to be at the time. And so I didn't do it last year. My first year was in 2019, and I have kept lists of, in my little book here, back to my very first Stitch Mania 2019 of what I worked on. And that year I did it true to what I was finding online, where it was 2019. So the first 19 days of the month, you did a new start each day. And then I filled in the rest of the day, the rest of the days with either doing those things or other whips. And that was a big year. That was a big year for me. That was quite the commitment. And I didn't have a lot of whips at that point to pull from. I had a few, a handful of them, but that was really the birth of my stash. But as I was looking through, it was very interesting to go back through the other years that I've done and kind of see what I've started, there have been a few UFOs from those years, and so unfinished projects, things that I'm just not going to work on ever again, which I don't do very often. It's kind of like reading a book. I feel bad to not finish what I've started, but sometimes you just don't. Sometimes it's just not right in one way or another, and so it goes away. And that's okay too. So I had a few of those, not many, but a few. I have finished more than half of what I've started in my Manias, that was a surprise to me. That was a really big surprise, a pleasant one, but a surprise. Anyways, so what I've done for this year, I've structured it so that I've done 3 years, and I've pulled 2, 4, 6, 8. I almost did 3 from each year, 3 unfinished. I'm not saying that right. 3 whips from the past 3 Manias I have participated in. I've pulled them into my rotation, and you can kind of see there's actually only 8. So the bright squares are my whips, and then the others are new starts. So, because I have lots of things kitted up. So I have 8 whips that I've pulled out to work on. Yes. And those, just really quickly, I'm not going to show you where I'm starting on them. I'll just show you the projects. Oh, we're here. What's another 10 minutes? I'll show you. Okay, I'll do it. Where's the picture for this one though? Oh, here it is. Okay, so the first one this was from 2019, Nantucket Rose, and I got a start on her sleeve, this blush pink in her sleeve the year I started it, and then abandoned it. And last year I pulled it out again and thoroughly enjoyed working on it, but it is so confetti heavy up in the grass and the water. This is where I got to. So I did everything that's not pink last year when I pulled it out over the course of the summer. And I was really happy with my progress. It's beautiful. My mother started this last summer. She puts me to shame. She has done the entire skirt. Oh, that is a lot of stitching. And that's the most boring part of the stitching too. So maybe I'll start into the boring gray stitching of her gorgeous skirt. Who knows? I'm not going to make any promises, but I'll work on her for a day, kind of pull her out again. Oh, let me pull. Here we go. Pull all my whips up here. And the next one is, oh wait. When was this one? Summer in Nantucket. This was a 2021 start. So cute. Plum Street samplers. I love this one. I was making really good progress on this one. I was just stitching it from my stash. So I was shifting colors so they would be as similar as possible, but what I had. And I ran into a a hiccup with the lighthouse. I just had nothing that would work for that lighthouse. So it calls for, I think that's the tartan plaid, which is very green. I think that was my next thing because I have the tartan plaid. That's supposed to be the lighthouse color. I don't know, it could work, but it's very different from the picture. And I love that picture. So maybe we'll dive into the stash and see what we can do with it. But that's one of them from 2021. Then this one, again, I was stitching from stash, which was more limited back then. This was a 2020 start. We also had availability issues in 2020, right? You had me at flamingo. Oh my goodness, they are so cute. And I can just picture them, they put their heads up when they do their little dance across the water's edge. Have you seen those videos? They're so cute. Oh my goodness. Anyways, that's how far I got when I started it. And I was, like I said, I was stitching from stash, so I've messed with some of the flamingo colors. They're not necessarily what was called for. I think at least one of them is. But I think that had slowed me down, that I was having decision fatigue from being like, well, what flamingo should be next? Since I wasn't working with the called for. Anyway, I'll pull that one out for a day. That's later in the month. A little bit of plastic sounds here. I'm sorry. But the next one is Petal Fairy. I started her in 2021. And she came out ever so briefly at the end of last summer. This is where I am on her. Oh, she's lovely. And I'll get more into the details on like fabrics and everything like that in our next video, when I haven't already been rambling at you for an hour and a half. Okay. I started a lot of my Miras during Stitch Mania. So this is Sleeping Princess. Princess in the P, right? She is so beautiful. And what sold me on this one was I saw somebody had finished it, and this arch up here is pretty much all beadwork, and it is so, so lovely. My start, I don't know that I have worked on it since Mania of 2020, and it's because my start is very blendy, and I was concerned about colors. It's gonna be fine. I have more experience now, and I started in this middle portion. It's not even gonna touch this color once it's all stitched. But it definitely threw me for a bit of a hesitation. When I got that on there, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work out. The model I had seen stitched up was done on this beautiful peachy linen. It was so gorgeous. And I actually bought a peachy linen for it, but when it came, it was a really poor quality, super open weave. I have since thrown that linen away because it just wasn't worth stitching on it. And so I think my vacillation was like, I'm only so far into this one. I could pick those stitches out, use it for something that will be absolutely satisfying, and then try to find another peachy, or I could just keep going. Anyways, we'll address that when we come to it. When I come to it, I'll address it. You don't have to. I do. Shores at Shores at Hawk Run Hollow. You've all seen it. It's so good. Carriage House samplings. I have spent most of my marriage living. I'm a Spokane girl. I'm a landlubber. But I'm a landlubber with a heart that loves the ocean, that loves the sea. So I love ocean stories and seafaring sailor stories, and lighthouses. I spent one summer researching all the lighthouses in Oregon and the West Coast, and so I am making this my West Coast more specifically Oregon shores. It's kind of the shores of Oregon, I guess you will, of Hakron Hollow. So it's charted in DMCs, and I have been doing a conversion into overdyes, except for this water, which is a silk, a Gloriana silk. Because the water, even on a sunny day on the Oregon coast, the water is stormy. It is such a beautiful gray blue. It is its own color. It is absolutely beautiful. So I was trying to capture that when I chose those colors. I love it. Anyways, but again, that slowed me down when coming to the next block, because the next block is actually the colors are almost tropical. Oh, yeah, that one. Are almost tropical. All these sea creatures in this bright green, and I think I have somewhere in here, I have a list of my conversion, what I'd chosen up to that point, but I never got any farther than that. It kind of, that's okay. It's a slow process. It's a creative process though, so it takes a little bit of time. You've got to give your brain time to marinate your thoughts. Okay, 2 more in the whips, and then we'll go through my new starts real quick. Why am I panicking about this? You guys can pause and come back if you need to. It's fine. It's all good. I'm just gonna take a deep breath. Take a drink of my now cold coffee. It's never as good cold. Okay, so this is my oldest whip of all time. It's the only one I have that is more than a decade old. And it's very special to me. It has some very personal meaning behind it. But it's been a very long-term project, partly because of that. Dimensions Gold Kit. It's called Balloon Glow. This is where I am. Last year when I pulled it out, I completed this mountain, what you see, and I started the first hot air balloon. I think before I go more into the sky, though, I'd like to establish these houses down here and finish the scenery, the mountain that goes behind here. So when I pull this out this month, I'm giving this the Sunday slot. So Sunday is my full coverage day, and my Sundays have been pretty busy and spotty and traveling and life and all that stuff over the last month. So I haven't worked on my Into Dreamland that I normally work on Sundays very much. And I'd had an alternate that has been banished. It's been banished. Feline Love is also Dimensions Kit. It's a smaller one. And sometimes I think the smaller ones are harder than the bigger ones. I don't know why that is. But as far as Dimensions Gold Collection kits go, they're very intense. And it was having me pull 4 strands of floss through 18 count Ada holes, and my hands and fingers were literally aching as I was trying to do it. And so I would put in a half hour here and there, and it was just like, I'm done. Like, it's in timeout. I don't know what to do about it at this point, because I think it's a really sweet chart. But anyways, that was kind of when I did have time on Sundays to stitch. That's what was coming out last month, and it just wasn't working out very well. So I didn't do a lot of Sunday stitching last month. But the Balloon Glow is going to be the only one I work on Sundays when I have time. Okay. You've seen this one. It's not new this year. It was last year, though, I think. I think it's, 2022. It is so cute. Hive Rules. I snatched it up the moment I saw it, and I started it last year, and I was so enjoying working on it. But then summer ended, and it felt very summery, so I put it away, knowing that summer would come again, and the inspiration would be fresh. So this is where I got to last year. There's a current SAL going on it. I think it's Promote's Cottage that is hosting it. I could be wrong. I'm not gonna add it to all of that, but I am excited to pull it out again. And this I'm counting as my whip from last year, since I did start it last year. It became my whip from the Mania I didn't do. Because it's really one of the only ones I worked on till later in the summer after we had moved. So I'm looking forward to pulling this one out again. I've got it slotted for at least one day, but I think this one is dark enough that I can take it camping with us later this month. You'll see the bottom week or so is yellowed out and there's nothing written in it, and that's because we're camping. So I have made, let me set this down. I've made a little list down here of projects that I think will travel well, and if I get time, it's a pretty chill camping trip. We have 2 campsites over 7 days, and we want to do some camping. No, really. We want to do some hiking, but mostly we just kind of want to be in a pretty spot away from a TV with card games and books and a campfire. So it'll be a really nice escape, and I'm hoping that I'll get some stitchy time in during that week. Anyway, so sorry, that totally derailed my brain. So that's one that I think will travel well. I'm excited to work on that. So it's all my whips, and then I have the SALs I mentioned before, and these ones I'll just show you cover photos on because you're gonna see more details later. So new starts. These will be Mania new starts. Summer by Madame Chantilly. I did her beach houses, I think it's called, last year, and I so enjoyed stitching on it that I took the other half of the fabric and kitted it up. This one. It's really sweet. It's not normally my vibe, but I like it. I think it's really fun. And I'm gonna have to go looking. Somebody did something different with these. I think they brought yellow. They made these gold or something down here because there's this big heavy gold spot, but then no gold down in any other of the lower part of the chart. And I really liked that. I'm gonna have to find that video again. Go through my watch history. Hello Summer. You can tell I'm starting to transition into summery vibes. I'm feeling it. I'm sure last week didn't help me stay in spring mentally very well. But this one's really cute, and I have this gorgeous, it's Fortnite Fabrics Outrageous for it, which is outrageously gorgeous. It's so pretty all opened up. I think it'll be really neat. So there's that one. This one I've got a picture for. This one's in celebration, so I'm a nerd, and I am a gamer, and I grew up playing The Legend of Zelda, and I've played Breath of the Wild several times, and this month the new Zelda game releases, Tears of the Kingdom, and my sister found this one on Etsy and was like, have you seen this? And I was like, no, but I need it. Has the Master Sword and the ocarina, the fairies up here. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's a big project. But I had a piece of linen in my stash that will be really cool for it. And it's charted in DMCs, so that made it really easy to kit up. So that will be one of them. And then I have a digital subscription to Primitive Needle, Punch Needle, the magazine. Where is it? Punch Needle and Primitive Stitching magazine. I'm new to it. Somebody sent me Stitchy Kindness in December and included the December of last year edition, and it had so many cute things in it that I had to get a digital subscription this year. So it had last year's included in it, and I think this is spring 2022. Dreaming Queen Bee. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to stitch her. And I just had, again, I kitted from Stash. All of these are kitted from Stash. The one change I'm making is it calls for the 4000 series of DMC for both her hair and this teal through here. And I don't have any of the 4000 series yet. I just have the solids. So I had ordered this Calm from Tom and Lily Creations. It's a little on the greener side, but in person it still has really lovely color variations, and it looked really good with all the other flosses. So I am substituting those two colors from my stash. So it'll be fun to see how those come together. I'm excited. Again, it'll just be a quick little stitch. It's good to have little things mixed in with the big uns. This one I'll get a start on, Summer at the Shore. It had been a month since I've worked on, or two, since I've worked on one of the Cottage Garden sampling series, and I've got several patterns in my stash, so it seemed an appropriate time. It's another chunk of the Outrageous that the other summer one will be on, so that will be really cool. I think it'll be really good contrast. And even the starfish will show. Love me a lighthouse. I might have to substitute that red though for an overdye. We'll play with it. It'll be good. This was a Christmas present from my mother, and I'm excited to start that one. It's mostly half stitches. I think it will just fly. But mostly it's just fresh and pretty, and wouldn't it look pretty sitting next to Dockside Quilts sometime in 1,000 years when I actually finish things? Window in the garden. Unfortunately, a little room in the attic. She does still have a website outside of Etsy. She's been banned from Etsy or shut down, or I don't know what the process is, but she's not active on Etsy anymore, and that's where I bought this. I have a lot of her charts that are no longer currently available. I did go on her website, and it seems like you can email her if you're interested, like directly, if you're interested in kind of do transactions that way. I haven't done that myself. She talks about it on her website though, but her designs are gorgeous and happy and detailed, and I have another one of hers that is a seaside beach scene, and it's very watercolory as well. So it was a good pairing. I think I bought them around the same time. The Blue Flower, the Glad Sun, that's this market's release. She is so gorgeous. I have this Sprite that I'm going to stitch her on, and she's getting a start this month because she's not going anywhere all summer. I want to work on her. She's so beautiful. Sorry for part of it. Yeah, you can't do anything with that. Okay, and last but not least, sorry for the zipper. Oh, almost last but not least. I showed this last time, long time. One person said in the comments that it should have been called Long Love because it's a fandom stitch from The Last of Us, and it is the episode that it was featured in. The song is Long Time by Linda Ronstadt, and it was featured in an episode that was all about lasting love, and it was beautiful and emotional. And anyways, I'm starting it. I may finish that one because it's a quick stitch. That one will come, I think that one's coming camping with me. Anyways, So good. And last but not least, for realsies. I have things everywhere. In my Mania start is Sampler Hill, which is a big piece. It's so pretty though. And it was going to be in so many of these. It's so funny because I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 of these were slotted to be in my lineup even before I was going to join Mania. So it all came together pretty easily. Oh, not last but not least. This one is last but not least. This one will be done this month, I'm sure. Look at my tiny little floss card. It's just a tiny project. Yeah, anyways. Oh, big stack on the floor now. But we've done it. It's almost a whip parade, like talking about Mania plans. It's kind of crazy, especially when coupled with my what I did in April, my April wrap up. I can see why people put it into different episodes. But, you know, you guys are used to long episodes from me. You're troopers. You're awesome. We did it. We made it. So let's wrap this puppy up really quickly here. I want to do 2 shout outs. One of them I already mentioned from who I watched, Christine Calico Whimsy. We talked about, she was awesome. I was new to her, but I thoroughly enjoyed her episode and we'll watch more of her work. And then Shelly from It's Only Stitching. She did a Barbara Anna, the Frida and Diego. She showed a finish of that. Oh my goodness. It was everything I could do to not pop over to Creative Poppy and just buy it right away because it was so pretty and it's one I've looked at for a long time but kind of always waffled on. Waffle no more. It's in my wish list. It's going to happen at some point. Beautiful work. Congratulations on that. And then she also shared a fabric, Picture This Plus Legacy, which has me all inspired for potentially a couple of different projects. So thank you, Shelly, for your episode. Everybody go check them out. They were both lovely to watch. And now, okay, we're going to do a book recommendation, 3 book recommendations really quickly. We're going in, I forgot to talk about fantasy books during Fantasy Magical March and Terry Brooks, the Shannara trilogy specifically. I've read more than just the trilogy. He has, it's got to be around 20 books in the same world, set in the same world, different timelines and different stories. And, but this is like the core trilogy that started it all. And I read them in junior high the first time, and it is so good. He definitely draws inspiration from Tolkien, which made it very, very appealing. It's, Terry Brooks' Shannara trilogy. If you like Lord of the Rings or Brandon Sanderson or Robert Jordan, Wheel of Time series, this fits right in with all of those. They're really delightful, enjoyable reads. And the first few chapters will feel very similar to like Wizard coming into the valley and basically recruiting the core crew, the fellowship, if you will. But then it branches out. The story becomes its own thing from there. Like I said, he drew inspiration, but very good. I really enjoyed them. I just reread them last year, and yeah, they were good. And then because I'm going camping and I've been in a true crime murder mystery kind of, my cousin and I would we would get together on Thursdays when I lived in Spokane, and we would watch Criminal Minds and make a treat of some kind and just hang out. It was our hangout time. We would call them our murder and mayhem days. because crime dramas are murder and mayhem. So in the spirit of camping and murder and mayhem, I thought I would bring up one of my favorite summer read authors. They're mystery novels set in national parks. The main character is a ranger, a park ranger, and she travels from park to park through her career. And sometimes she's recruited to different parks because she gains this reputation for kind of solving crimes or being part of things that happen. And these are two of my favorite ones. So this is Bloodlure. It takes place in Montana. Yeah, Glacier National Park. And they have a man-eater bear on the loose. Or so they think. It's so good. And then Blind Descent gave me nightmares. Okay, it's not a horror story, but it could be a horror story. So they go down into, what's it called? Oh, I'm going to butcher this. Lechugia, that's it. Lechugia, which is one of the deepest cave systems in North America. And so it's this spelunking team. They basically go down, but then they get lost in the caves and people start dying and it's dark. And this is such a moody, like, she puts you in the cave. It's so good. And she's got quite the series of books. I don't know how many there are. This is only 2 of, I think I own 6 or 7 of them, but some of them are paperbacks. A Superior Death, Ill Wind, those are a couple of the first ones, Lake Superior, and oh my goodness, they're really enjoyable. And she's a sassy, independent woman, and she's got some heartache in her past, but she is fiercely herself on top of being brave and winding up in situations that make books. Anyways, very entertaining if you want a good summer murder mystery kind of read, but feel like outdoorsy and stuff. I mean, I'll be reading one this month, so I don't know which one. They're all good though. I've enjoyed all of them that I've read. My mom, I don't remember if she ever read any to us. She used to read us books when I was little. Even in high school, she would read to us. And we would get our stitching out or, color books or something like that. And it was just quiet time. And Mom would read us Douglas Preston Lincoln Child books and, all sorts of things. Like, they moved with our maturity level into more mature content and stuff like that. And I can't remember if she ever read us Nevada Bar, but she certainly turned me on to her. So, very good books. There's apparently a lot to say. Okay, last but not least, I saved it for the end. We have a giveaway. Last episode, I announced that we've reached 4,000 subscribers, which is absolutely astounding. It's marvelous. And so because of that, I'm giving away a pattern for each 1,000 subscribers. So 4 patterns total, 4 different winners. And I used the YouTube random comment generator picker website to choose these. So I'll just pop through them really quickly. And the procedure for receiving these is thus. I don't want to mess with any of the scams or garbage that's going on in the internet world these days. So if I call out your name, the pattern is yours. I always link my email, my Stitchy email, to my videos. So you are responsible for sending me an email with your, hi, I'm this person, I won, and your address. And then I'll respond and I'll get it shipped out to you. But that way you don't have to question if it's actually coming from me or anything. This is my personal email and I'm the only one who has access to it. So you can trust that. And so let's get on to our winners. First one, this was Be in My Bonnet, set M, and the keyword, the word was strawberry. Our winner is Lori Eden. Congratulations, Lori. Woohoo! So give me an email. Super cute. That'll be so fun. And it's the perfect time of year for that one. This one is set N with the cute little mushroom, which was our code word here, mushroom. And our winner is Tamra Pierce. Congratulations, Tamra. So exciting. I'm looking forward to your email. Okay. This one, beautiful lavender and lace flower bunches. And our code word for this one was tea, because it's like having tea in the garden. And the winner is Vilma Williams. Vilma Williams. Congratulations. This one's beautiful. I've actually stitched this one and gave it away as a gift. It was delightful. And the big kahuna, lavender and lace, Our Lady with the infant. She's absolutely beautiful. My mother stitched this one and it was stunning. The code word was lady, and the winner is Nicole. I can't read my own handwriting. Nicole C. I just pulled it was the handles that came up with the comment generator. So, congratulations. So exciting. So those are my 4 winners. If you heard your name, send me out an email and I'll get these in the mail to you as quickly as I can after that. Congratulations. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sticking with this longer episode. Oh, it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was fun. I had fun. My voice is sore. I'm going to have to go hide in a hole for a day so I don't talk. Lots of big plans, lots of fun. I do have my quilting videos come out sometime around the 16th. The idea is that it would be on the 16th every month, but life seems to be thwarting the exactness of that. So around the 16th, I do quilting bee videos, which are super fun, and I've got some really fun projects going there. So I hope you'll join me for that. I'm thinking, just with the way this month is so big and so many new starts, and then I'm traveling up till the last couple days of the month, I am not going to do another cross stitch video till right at the end of next month. So it's going to be 4 weeks, people. I'm going to miss you. You'll see me in the quilting world, but I'm going to film somewhere around the 30th or 31st, just because there's not really, unless I get lonely and want to do another video, I might surprise you. But right now I'm thinking it kind of makes sense to just do all my stitching and then do one more big video, basically, of all the Mania crazy goodness. And then kind of resume normal programming, so my bi-weekly videos through June as things kind of settle into more of a routine. Kind of rough plans. We'll see what happens. Life has a way of taking plans and rearranging them. So, but that's kind of the thoughts right now. So if you won the drawing, send me an email. I'll be on top of that. I'll see you in the mid-month for a quilting video, and then I'll be back with what progress has been made and pretty new starts at the very end of May. Okay. I hope you are well. I hope you are happy and healthy, and that if hard times come, because they always do, that you know that you are strong and capable and you can handle it. And through those good moments, I hope you just settle in and breathe deep through them, because they are so sweet when they come. Oh man, life. Happy stitching, my friends. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.